are using Scottish resources to balance the books.
Today on Campaign Check, it's SNP Manifesto Day, and running through their manifesto is, of course, the argument for Scottish independence. Here's Nicola Sturgeon on that.
They claim that Scotland is not good enough or rich enough to be independent. But when they need to balance the UK books, they always seem to find billions of pounds of Scottish resources to do that job for them.
Scottish resources being used to balance the rest of the UK's books. That's a line the SNP often use to make their case for independence, but are they actually right on it? Well, Ms Sturgeon says that since the discovery of North Sea oil, the Treasury pocketed £340 billion in revenues from the industry. And unlike Norway, which used their revenues to create an enormous sovereign wealth fund, Scotland's been left with nothing, says the SNP leader. But is she right on that? Well, let's have a look at how Scotland compares with the rest of the UK. And this line shows you the Scottish population as a percentage of the UK total. So anything above the line means Scotland's doing more of it than average, anything below, less than average. So if I show you Scottish government spending, you can see it's consistently above the UK average. Scotland does tend to spend more per head than the rest of the country. Now, that's not a problem if Scottish tax revenues were also above that line, and for much of recent history, they were. So this line shows you Scottish revenues, including their share of North Sea tax income. For most of the past couple of decades, Scotland's revenues were well above the UK average, actually above that line of spending. So in one sense, the SNP is right. The UK did pocket a lot of Scottish tax, but here's the thing. In the past 7 or 8 years, look at that line. The income has slumped, partly thanks to lower oil prices, partly the decline of the North Sea. And this gap between spending and revenue means Scotland's government borrowing is now about 7% of national income. Let's put that into perspective. 7%, that means Scotland has a bigger government deficit than any advanced economy. Look at Scotland over here. You can see Scotland there, right at the bottom there, the biggest deficit. And who has the best surplus, the biggest surplus of all? It is Norway. So Norway, it helps explain how they can build up the funds that the SNP say that they want. Now, the SNP do say they have an answer to some of this. They want to make more revenues from renewable energy and that billions are going to be saved by scrapping Trident. But because they haven't provided detailed costings, it's a bit difficult to work out whether that's actually right. So, Nicola Sturgeon's claim that UK politicians use Scottish resources to balance the books was once true, but it isn't anymore.